Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
Yeah.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure?
It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Micah's here, but getting food. Well, grab food. That sounds great. Zero the Blade is here, so hopefully we'll be much of a headless chicken today. Well, I hope not too. Hello, Draco. Good morning, everybody. It is so good to see you. I hope that you have had a good morning. Did you heed the call to adventure this morning? Heeding the call to adventure means getting up and working at the time you want to get up and working on the projects that you want to get up. If you did, you can post to the call to adventure section of the Ravenkeep Discord server. Let me make sure that I put the invite over here. I think it's just about time to go ahead and create a permanent invite. Hey, Tomocrat, good to see you. Good morning. I posted that I was up 4:45, 5 o'clock this morning, sitting at the office desk working on the script for the Tales of Rabavania, and then I was also working, spent a couple hours working on that. Then I spent about 2 hours working on the script, 1 hour working on still trying to figure out how to get these videos made for the worlds that we're building. So I'm still struggling. I am still struggling trying to get these get everything set up the way that it should be set up to make actual production of these things the way something that's reasonable anyway. Micah says ended up being way oversleeping, but made some progress at least. Well, that is good. That is good. This morning we're going to be continuing to talk about War of Kings. See, Micah says my room is an oven if downstairs neighbors turn the heat on at all. We never do. Huh. I think it's about to get cold here again a little bit. We are talking about War of Kings, which is my board game that I created. People suggested that, hey, why don't we talk about the board games and stuff that you create as well here on the Morning Grind? And I said, hey, I think that's a great idea. So we're going to be doing that here. If you want to get a copy of War of Kings, it's over at ravenkeep.net. Ravenkeep.net is, of course, the website and store where I set up for all the different things that we are creating on this channel. So if you go over to ravenkeep.net, you can pick up War of Kings if you just scroll down a little bit. In fact, I'll put a direct link to War of Kings. But there is also the 10mm miniatures for the entire game if you would like to use 10mm miniatures to represent armies for your game instead of just the tokens. Here is War of Kings Direct. And how many of these things are there left? There are not many. There are only 9 left. So there weren't that many made in general. And I found 2 cartons of them in the workshop a few months ago. So I sent them out to there's the direct link finally. I sent them out to the warehouse so they could be fulfilled, so people could order them and they could be shipped out. So there are War of Kings over there, but there are only 9. So if you were interested in having a War of Kings game, it is my game of strategy, kingdom building, and conquest. I designed it with my brother, and it was the first game that we did on Kickstarter. Good morning, James. Good to see you. So if you want one, be sure to go ahead and pick it up because there are only 9 left, and then that's all there will ever be in the world. So it's over there on ravenkeep.net. Let's go to the morning messages, and then we will get back into the rules and talk about how we play, and we'll get into combat, the combat system, and things like that. So here we go. The Morning Grind is brought to you by World Anvil. For all the writers out there, World Anvil has all the tools to help you write, organize, present, and publish rich settings with complex characters. Write, world build, and manage your story all in a single platform. Use the code MORNINGGRIND to get 40% off yearly subscriptions. The Morning Grind is also brought to you by the Cool Name RPG. Cool Name is an RPG by veteran game designers that includes a perpetual, irrevocable, royalty-free license for creators. Support its development now on Kickstarter. And thank you for being here with me live on the Morning Grind. And if you're watching on replay, welcome to you as well. It's great to have you here. If you're enjoying the Morning Grind, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It will really help the channel grow, and I would be very thankful. We also have the Ravenkeep Discord server you can join if you would like to be a part of the community. All right, that's what you need to know. Let's get to the main topic. Let's see. I'm going to put the Cool Name RPG link here in the chat as well. That way you can go over there. I think it's got 4 days left, raised over $16,000. That's Mark Tassin. Mark, of course, you've seen on this channel before, and you've seen his design blogs. If you're interested in RPG development, checking out the Mechanical Muse YouTube channel where he has the design blogs for the Cool Name RPG is a really great thing to do. I really enjoyed listening to Mark talk about his design philosophy for the game. And of course, the Cool Name RPG is a response to the OGL debacle from Wizards of the Coast. And it looks like we've got 2 great projects going. We've got Black Flag by Kobold Press, which is 5th edition based. But then also, if you're looking for something that's not 5th edition based at all, Cool Name RPG is being developed by Mark Tassin at Mechanical Muse, and it is being designed from the ground up. Hi. Good morning, Zero Theory. Good to see you. Shav Hunter. Hi. Good morning. Good to talk to you. Chase Street says, good morning, everyone. Feels like forever since I've been here. Missed a week, and then 10 hours of sustained 60 miles an hour winds took down both power and internet for 3 more days. Wow. I'm glad you're all right. All is right now, though. I'm glad you're okay. Good morning, Shav Hunter. Is this from Mantic Games? Shav Hunter asks. Nope, it's not. It's not from Mantic Games. This is the one that I designed. My brother and I designed it. We published it under the original name of the company, Rain Studios. But now it's available through ravenkeep.net. So no, this isn't something from Mantic. This is something I designed. Good morning, Jason, and good morning, George. All right, so Good morning, everybody. So, as far as what's coming up as some announcements, tomorrow evening we will have a live stream with Brianna De Silva. Everybody likes the live streams with Brianna. She is awesome. We are going to be talking about story structure, specifically as it relates to horror. We're actually going to be watching Nosferatu this afternoon, so we can take our own notes, and we talk about a variety of different story structures and things like that. So we're going to be taking a deep dive into horror, which is ordinarily not something that I really thought that I liked all that much, although I do like the Cthulhu mythos and Lovecraftian cosmic horror and things like that. But I traditionally over-associated, as it turns out, horror with things like slasher films, and I don't really enjoy those, and I don't enjoy like extreme gore and graphic kinds of gore like that. But apparently there is a lot of other things like horror, like Edgar Allan Poe, that I really enjoy. And so we're going to be talking about all of that. That'll be tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Central. So that is one thing that's coming up very soon. So anything else? Oh, we are also in the middle of our, this is day 2 of a 72-hour productivity challenge. So we've been talking about that over on the Raven Keep Discord server. There is a productivity section of that. So I just put the link. If you scroll up in the chat, you'll see the link to the Discord server. Click over there. We're holding ourselves accountable here on the morning shows and in the Raven Keep Discord server to making sure that we are productive and we are accomplishing what we are trying to accomplish. And we're going to be planning our day at the end of this show as well, and we can hold ourselves accountable to make sure we accomplish what we're trying to accomplish in the Raven Keep Discord server. All right. Reading horror is, Michael of St. Joseph says, reading horror is greater than watching horror. Okay, add to stream. So we were talking about, this is round 2 on War of Kings. And so I've got the rule book up here. And basically the last time that we were checking out War of Kings, we were just going through the rule book. We had already set up already talked about how to set up the game and how to set up your starting kingdom and get your economic ledger ready. And we had I think we had just gone through how to play, because this gameplay is all of the different phases of the game. So it's like an overview of all the different phases of the game. And one of the things that I really like about War of Kings is that it has a simultaneous construction phase, because we just found out during playtesting that it just took way, way too long for all of the players to, if everybody was going one at a time to try to design their kingdom and take their turn to build something out, that was just taking too long. So we decided, why don't we just let everybody do that at the same time? That moves things along a lot faster. So everybody generates their resources, everybody receives gold, and then everybody just can trade back and forth and build out their kingdom all at once. And then you do go around the table while everybody orders their armies. So as a brief overview of gameplay, we have the construction phase, where everyone receives gold. All players receive gold based on their settlements connected to the player's capital by the road network. Then you check for support. All players check to ensure their armies are supported by the necessary settlements, and provisions are purchased if necessary. And that's because we wanted to make sure that we were tying the military strength of your kingdom to the economic strength of your kingdom. We didn't want you to be able to just pursue a military strategy. You have to also pursue an economic strategy to be able to support the size military that you are building. So you've got this rule in here to make sure that you're not getting out of balance with too much military for your kingdom to economically support. Then one player rolls the 3 resource dice. You have 3 resource dice that generates colors, and then everybody takes a look at what territories they have, which is all recorded on their economic ledger, and what size settlements are in each one. And the territories of the colors rolled generate resources. Here's an example up here. So this player right here, who's playing black on the summer side of the board, has 1 yellow territory, which generates 1 timber, because they just have possession of this yellow territory. On blue, they've got stone right over here, and then they have a village here in a green territory. That means that because it's got a village in it, it will generate 2 of the primary resources, which are wheat. And then its capital territory here has a town in it, and that town is red, and the town generates 3 units of the primary resource and 1 unit of the secondary resource. So it's generating 3 cattle and 1 timber. So that is how your kingdom is set up. So every kingdom has the same setup structure, but each kingdom is not on the same resources on each color. All of that is spread out. That means that even though every player is generating their resources on those resource dice, so one player rolls the resource dice, but then every player generates resources based on the roll of those dice. And that means that every player is generating different resources, which enables you to trade and enables you to develop different building strategies, because you're going to have different resources available to you throughout the game. So that's the resource generation. Then construction goes, and after everybody's collected their gold and their resources, everybody builds whatever it is that they would like to build. And here was our pricing for the different things you can build: roads, villages. You can upgrade towns. You can upgrade villages into towns. You can upgrade towns into cities. You can build walls around your settlements. You can upgrade your walls into fortresses and your fortresses into castles. You can build out armies. This is provisions for your army, and then resupplying your army. That basically refills all of the army's hit points. So you go to town, and everybody goes to town building as much as they can. Then, once everybody has built everything they want to build and they're capable of building based on their resources, you go to the event die phase. And the event die phase is, well, this is when you start playing single player. So the player goes to the event die phase, and we talked about you can roll the dice here, and you may even get control of the Maladorian Marauders, because there is a non-player faction in the game that you can take control. It's generally good when you actually roll the Malador, because that means you get to control them. So you can use a barbarian horde to attack somebody else on the board, or put barbarians next to them or something like that. So you roll the event die, and we actually talked about a different way to handle this just by drawing cards. Because if you want to see this game played, we played it on Dinner and a Board Game. It's Season 1, Episode 5. We played it in here in my dungeon. I've got a dungeon gaming room in here. And we played it, I made a few changes because I'm the designer of the game. So I was trying out a couple of different rule variations that included a different way to draw for the event cards, or handle the event cards. Then you move your armies. If you've moved your army into an empty space, you explore, and there's a table for you to roll on to explore. Sometimes good things happen to you. You can find resources. Sometimes you can encounter a plague or something like that, or you can encounter barbarian hordes. After you've explored everything, then you fight any battles. That if you have moved your armies into territories with other armies, you fight the battles. And then if you need to resupply armies to restore their hit points, you do that. And that is basically the game's cycle right there. That's the main loop of the game. And then you are trying to get to 13 achievement points. You start with 13 based on the settlements that you have. So you're the first player to get to 10 more points wins the game. Achievement points wins the game. Let's see what's going on in the chat. So if you were just catching up from last time, that's basically how the game is played. Foraging and prepping food done, rewound and playing stream at 2.5 speed until catching up. People talking about these storms. Yeah, it seems like we here in Alabama have had a lot of that recently, but I think we skipped missed this latest round. At least I did in my particular area. I think it was north of me. Okay, so now we take a deeper dive into the rules surrounding each different thing in the game. The first thing is settlements. So the settlement is the generic term for any village, town, or city. The first and lowest settlement is the village, followed by the town, and finally, the third and highest level settlement is the city. Settlements confer a number of advantages to the players who control them. First, players earn achievement points for controlling territories with settlements in them. See winning the game. Building settlements and territories also allows players to collect resources from these territories when their color is rolled during the construction phase. Settlements generate gold only if they are connected to the player's capital by a road network that passes through territories controlled by the player. See figure 16. So here is your capital territory right here for the white player. And then as we can see, the player also has, this is a village, that's a town. We've got a town down here in the capital territory, and we've got other villages. But not every one of those villages will generate gold for the player, because you only generate gold through tax revenue if you're able to connect your village through the roads to your capital city. So here, or capital territory in general. Right now, it's a town in the capital. But right here, this village, this right here is a road. It spans these two territories. Here's a road that spans these two territories and so forth, and they've connected these right here. So we can see here in this case, in this example, the White Kingdom is generating 15 gold. Town 1 in the capital territory generates 6 gold. Town 4 is connected to the capital territory by the road network, so it generates 6 gold. Village 3 generates 3 gold because it is connected to the capital territory by a road. That's up here. It goes through this other territory. Village 3 generates 3 gold because it's connected to the capital territory. Village 2 cannot generate gold because it does not have a road connection to the capital territory. So right here, no road connection. Village 5 cannot generate gold because it does. Village 5 cannot generate gold because the territory is currently controlled by the Malador. So right here, in this case, what we have is we have a white village. So this matters. You don't. If you're conquered, you don't change out the color of the village. Instead, you just change out the control marker to understand who's got political control of the territory. So the Malador, the non-player faction, have orange control markers. So you can see in this case, the white player has lost control of this territory. It's controlled by the Malador. So it's no longer generating gold for them because it's now under the political dominion of somebody else. So Village 5 cannot generate gold. You're going to have to go back and liberate your own villages or settlements if somebody else captures them from you. Village 6 cannot generate gold because the connection between it and the capital territory has been broken by the Malador's control of the yellow territory in the center. So right here, we've got a territory that has a village in it that is controlled by the white player. But as you can see, also the Malador have come in through here and taken control of this territory. So they have broken the chain from this village back to the capital territory. So this person is being economically disrupted by foreign military forces. So the Malador here are interdicting all of the coins that are coming through here. I'm tracking the War of Kings package. Yes, Vision got one of the War of Kings, and it already shipped. I forget when exactly we did. We looked at number 1. We looked at part 1. Was it Thursday or something like that? So it is already out and headed his way. The Last Phoenix says, how can you lose those points? Which points are we talking about? Are we talking about... you're talking about maybe achievement points? You can lose them maybe. Let me clarify the Last Phoenix, and I will be happy to clarify if you let me know which points. But if you're talking about achievement points, how can you lose them? You can lose achievement points if you lose your territories. If you lose, especially your settlements. If you lose your settlements, you will be losing your victory points. So let's see here. The settlement in the player's capital territory will always generate gold for the player. A player is free to build or upgrade as many settlements in and around as he or she has the gold and resources. Newly built or upgraded settlements will begin generating resources and gold on the next round. The following rules govern settlement construction and their upgrade. A territory may only contain one settlement. Villages are the only settlements that may be built in a territory without a settlement. The price table in Table 4 for the towns and cities represent an upgrade cost for the settlement of a lower level. For instance, a village may be upgraded to a town by paying 6 gold, 4 timber, 4 wheat, 4 cattle, and 1 stone. Replace the village miniature with a town miniature. A settlement may only be upgraded by 1 level per turn. Players may only build or upgrade settlements in territories they control. No settlement may be both built and upgraded in the same turn. Players may only upgrade settlements of their own culture. See culture. So in this case, the orange player here, the orange control marker is the non-player horde. But if this were controlled by, say, blue, the blue player controlled this village, then the blue player could not upgrade this village into a town because you can't upgrade settlements that are not of your culture. this indicates political control. The marker indicates political control, but the culture of the village still remains in this case, in this case, white. So you may only upgrade villages and towns that are of your culture. Settlements also have military functions by allowing armies to be raised in the territories and supporting armies on the board. See armies. They also have a limited capability to defend themselves if they are attacked and there is no army to defend them. See militia. The number of villages, towns, and cities of each color indicated in the box is the maximum number of each on the board that the player's culture can have at one time. If a player runs out of certain pieces, then new settlements of that level may not be constructed. Achievement points, yes. So you can lose them if you get taken over. Would you ever want War of Kings on Tabletop Simulator where people could play it digitally? We put War of Kings on Tabletopia. I don't remember there being, when we originally did this, I don't think there was Tabletop Simulator. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's just if it's going to be worth the time. Because we did have, let's see if we can find War of Kings Tabletopia. This was years ago that we did this. Oh, yeah. Here. Oh, Zero of the Blade's also getting stuff in today. The Zero of the Blade says, just checked my email. War of Kings and Enchantress are out for delivery. Excellent. Remember, over on ravenkeep.net, if you spend $99 or more, you get free shipping. So if you're over there and want one of those War of King boxes, you're pretty close to getting free shipping anyway. So rather than pay to shipping, go ahead and pick up Enchantress. That's the other board game that I've done. We'll take a look at it one day here soon. Or get some coffee, or some of the coffee mugs, or some of the 10mm miniatures. There's a bunch of different things over there. So go ahead. If you're thinking about getting War of Kings, you may want to go ahead and try to get the free shipping. So check that out. I hope everybody is enjoying these. So this right here. So we built out this a long time ago on Tabletopia. Now, I don't know how popular it is now, but we've got War of Kings here. And we've got setups for 2 players, 3 and 4 players, 5 and 6 players. So there's how the game looks inside Tabletopia. We've got the villages that we built out and 3D modeled, and you've got the different types of fortifications that you set them on. We got all the tokens and things like that set out. So it's a good looking game even there. Here's the table set up with everybody's economic ledgers and counters to track how much stuff they've got, how much the resources they've got, and how much gold they've got, and everything like that. So we've got it all set up. All of the custom dice are loaded in for combat. So I haven't ever gone back and tried to create this for a Tabletop Simulator. I remember it taking a long time to create this game in Tabletopia. But it is here, at least in Tabletopia, and ready to go. Maybe one day we move it over into Tabletop Simulator. I still wanted to do more with Tabletop Simulator, but I kind of got distracted from investigating Tabletop Simulator in general. But that doesn't mean that it's not something that we can't use more in the future as well. Andrew says, Tabletopia is a very evocative name. I have never heard of it before. Yeah, it seems like it was one of the first ones, because like I said, I don't remember Tabletop Simulator existing when we did this. But it may be that Tabletop Simulator is now more used and more well known. But Tabletopia was what there was when we were creating this. So it is out there if anybody would like to play. Militia. In fact, I should put a link to that in the Discord server. I hadn't thought about that. So that if people want to play digitally, they can go over there and play digitally, put together a game or something like that. People are always talking about they wanting to play online games and things like that, or looking for people to play with them. So people could get together a game through the Discord server and play on Tabletopia. All right, so militia right here. If no territory with a settlement is attacked, and there are no armies in the territory, then the local militia will try to defend the settlement. The militia always accepts offers of battle, never withdraws, and will fight until defeated. If a defending player's army withdraw from the territory, leaving the settlement by itself, then the settlement will not rally its militia. Instead, the attacking player automatically conquers the territory. Militia can never be used offensively. Militia always defend. So if your armies run away, the militia are demoralized and they don't try to defend. If you've got armies there, then the militia are ignored. Militia always defend with 2 standard combat dice and counterattack with 3. The level of the settlement determines how many hits the militia can sustain before it's defeated. See Table 5 for the battle characteristics of the militia. For the purposes of calculating numerical advantage, a settlement's militia always counts as 1 army. Thus, they will never outnumber the attackers. We'll talk about how to run combat here in just a moment. However, the militia does receive fortification dice due to any fortification present in the territory. See Battle Resolution for more information regarding battle. If the attacker withdraws from battle or is defeated, then all damage counters the militia have taken are automatically and immediately removed. Militia characteristics. So here's how many damage they can take. Here's how many battle dice they defend with and how many they counterattack with. Everybody in a exchange defends and attacks, defense, counterattack, defense. That's an exchange. Additionally, a settlement that is not defended by an army will only rally its militia to defend the settlement if the settlement's culture is different from the invading army. So you never have to fight your own militia to get your settlement back because you are then liberating your settlement. And so the militia do not rally against you. You're welcomed back once your armies show back up. If the culture of the settlement and the army match, then the inhabitants of the settlement will welcome the return of any friendly military forces. Rather than being conquered, the settlement is liberated and is immediately captured without the need to wage battle. See culture for more. Ordinarily, a liberated settlement will not be raised, but if the attacking player wishes to raise the settlement, then its inhabitants will raise a militia and fight the army as if it were an army of another culture. In all cases, if there is at least 1 army present in the territory with the settlement, then the militia is ignored. Micah says Tabletopia came out at the start of December 2016, while Tabletop Simulator came out in June of 2015. Okay, well, there we go. I would have thought it was longer ago than that, but okay, so now we know. I know I have one of them on Steam, but I forgot which since I've compared them at that time, but not since then from the updates. I think I got Tabletop Simulator on Steam. I think people were telling me to take a look at Tabletop Simulator, and so I was trying to download it, and I got that through Steam. Zero Theory says, I play on Tabletop Simulator pretty regularly. Great for playing Gloomhaven and other big, beefy games. Hello, Toadstool Hollow. Good morning. So here are roads. Roads connected to territories. Roads connect territories and are essential to bind a kingdom together both economically and militarily. In order to build a road between 2 territories, the player's kingdom must control both territories to be connected. So as you're exploring, you can't build roads. You've got to build roads behind you. Your armies are going out. They won't be going along a road network the first time they go out. In order to build a road between 2 territories, the player's kingdom must control both territories and be connected and pay the requisite cost in gold to the market, resources and gold to the market. The road token should be placed so that it crosses the border of the territories it connects. Roads are available for use immediately after they are built. Roads serve 3 purposes. 1. Roads allow settlements to generate gold by connecting them to the kingdom's capital. It is not necessary for the settlement to be adjacent to the capital to generate gold. So long as there's an unbroken chain of territories that are all connected by roads and are under the control of the player, then the settlement is connected and will generate gold. Players also receive achievement points if their road network is generating the most gold. See winning the game. Roads allow armies to move more quickly and efficiently. This is 2. If an army moves only between territories that are connected by roads, it may move 2 territories instead of the usual 1, though remember, an army must always stop if it enters a territory not controlled by the player. See figure 17 for an example of army movement along the road network. So we've got that over here. So in this example, Army 1, the black army right here, can move into the territories marked A, B, C, or F. A, this way, B, back, C, or F, right here. Because here, we can move back. This is actually blocked by the mountains right here, so that person can move that way because of the road network. Army 2, the Purple Army, can move into territories G, yep, E, yep, way over there, H, yep, or J. Even though territory I, right up here, is connected to Army 2's territory by the road network, the Malador control territory J, and an army always stops when it moves into a territory that is not controlled by the player. Roads allow armies to move more quickly and we just said that. So roads also allow a player to move more efficiently resupply armies that have taken damage. In addition to being able to resupply an army with a territory with a town or city, armies may always be resupplied if they are in a territory that is connected to a town or city under the player's control through territories that are connected by roads, which are all connected by roads and are all under control of the player. See supply phase for more. So ordinarily you can resupply, so get your army's hit points back if they are in a territory with a town or a city, as long as you pay the gold cost. It's just 2 gold. But also if you've got a road network out, then you can start resupplying armies while they're in the field. Roads are not controlled by any particular player. They do not have a culture. Therefore, roads function the same for all players. Roads cannot be destroyed. There's Seth. That's one of the game pieces of art in the game. So Seth is leading an army here. Micah says, Tabletopia was basically my first VTT outside of Roll20, which was extremely user-unfriendly at the time I had first tried to get into it. Way better now from what I've heard. Well, that's good. Andrew says, momentarily forgot whether it was 2023 or 2022. I do the same thing. Going to be a good day. Micah says, yes, I have Tabletop Simulator. Purchased it in 2017. Probably through Steam. I think that's the one that's there. So fortification is a generic term for walls, fortresses, and castles. Fortifications allow a player's kingdom to better resist attack and come in 3 levels. The first and lowest is walls. I do love this picture right here. The one of these guys in the great helms looking over the castle wall. That's one of my favorite illustrations in the game. So fortifications allow a player's kingdom to better resist attack and come in 3 levels. The first and lowest level is walls, the second level is fortress, and the third and highest level is castle. The following rules govern building and upgrading fortifications. Players may only build and upgrade fortifications in territories under their control and that also contain a settlement. Fortifications may be built simultaneously with a construction or upgrade of a settlement, i.e. a player may build both a village and its walls in a territory that he or she controls in the same turn. Walls are the only fortification that may be built in a territory with an unfortified settlement. A settlement's fortification may be upgraded by 1 level per round if the player pays the necessary resource and gold cost. The prices in Table 4 for the fortresses and castles are an upgrade cost for fortifications of a lower level. For instance, walls may be replaced by a fortress by paying 4 gold, 2 timber, and 4 stone. No fortification may be built and upgraded in the same round. The upgrade of a settlement and fortifications are independent of one another. For example, a player may upgrade the fortification in a territory to a fortress while the settlement remains a village. Similarly, a player may upgrade an unfortified village to a town and build walls around it. A territory may only contain 1 fortification. Although players may not upgrade settlements that are not part of their culture, there is no such restriction on fortifications. Players are free to build and upgrade fortifications in territories they control, but with settlements that are not of their culture. So if you can fortify somebody else's culture, especially if you are trying to hold it. Fortifications provide bonus fortification dice that are rolled in addition to the standard battle dice and other bonus battle dice to which the player may be entitled when he or she is defending a territory against attack. The number of fortification dice thrown depends on the level of fortification present in the territory. See Table 7. The fortification dice do not have flails on their faces, so there's no need to roll them during the defender's counterattack. Fortifications don't help you in your counterattack. when you're the defender. They just keep you from taking damage. Micah says, was hoping it would eventually get Elder Sign or Ticket to Ride Europe, but never did. Both got separate digital releases, but not looking like done on a table, more like a video game than simulated. Oh. Maybe I should get deeper into the tabletop simulator, because I was thinking about playing Gloomhaven. I've got games over here, and I was trying to think more and more about games that I want to play solo. I might as well play them solo. But I wouldn't ever personally just sit down and play a solo board game. But I would if I were streaming it. And so that's why I was thinking about dinner and a board game and doing the solo dinner and a board game, which is why I was still working on painting up all of these Hero Quest miniatures for the solo Hero Quest games. And I've got to get my living room in a condition where I can stream from the living room. I'm thinking that rather than trying to get out from here, if I just played solo games, I could do that out in the living room. And I was thinking about Gloomhaven. I've got Gloomhaven sitting over here. Somebody brought that up. I got Frosthaven sitting over here. I've got Darkest Dungeon. I've got Mansions of Madness. I've got Journeys in Middle-earth. A lot of these I'd like to play, but I suppose that I will not have people down here to play with me, so I need to play them solo. But I would do it by streaming. But it might be easier to do them on a tabletop simulator while streaming, except for then I do lose the physicality. And once again, I am would be sitting right here in this desk playing online with a tabletop simulator. I think part of at least some of the charm for something like dinner and a board game would be live streaming the actual physical table. Last Phoenix wants to play, hey, if you're going to play tabletop simulator, then count me in. Yeah, tabletop simulator could potentially allow us to have multiplayer board game streams more easily. Lots of different things to potentially do. Armies. The player's military forces are composed of armies. They are used to explore new territories, defend armies against attack, and conquer territories from other players. Armies have two states, ready and unready, which are indicated by flipping the army counter from one side to the other during play. Ready armies are capable of taking an action during the round, such as moving, attacking, withdrawing, or resupplying. Unreadied armies are not. So here, for instance, are our army counters in the basic game. We've got the ready side, and we've got the unready side. That's the gray side. Armies are raised during the construction phase and may only be raised in territories that are under the player's control and constrain a town or a city of the player's culture. You can't raise an army in somebody else's town that's not your own culture. And villages are not capable of raising armies. You have to have at least a town to raise an army. Good morning, Vanessa. One army per turn may be raised in a territory with a town, and two per turn in a territory with a city. So you can also raise a lot more in a city. Once an army is first raised, it is placed on the board in the unready state. So it can't be raised and moved in the same turn. Damage. An army that receives 3 hits must be removed from the board, whether these hits were sustained in battle or in other situations, such as by encountering a plague in the exploration phase. The number of these hits each army has received is tracked by placing a damage counter under the army token anytime it takes a hit. Once the army receives 3 hits, the army must be removed from the board. An army may never receive more than 3 damage counters. Damage counters can be removed by resupplying the army. See supply. Note, damage counters are double-sided. Ordinarily, the counters are simply used to indicate that an army has taken damage on this, and the sides can be ignored. However, if you are using armies made from the War of Kings 10mm miniature line, the tokens can be placed with the side showing the marching soldiers up to indicate the army is unready. The tokens can be placed with the flail and warhammer side up to indicate damage. So support. This is when I was talking about we wanted to be sure that you couldn't just pursue a military strategy. Now, yeah, so on searching, I see, so Micah says that some of the game Elder Sign is there. It seems like people have been pretty generous. The game publishers have been pretty generous with letting people put those up. It seems like, at least from what I was reading. So support. The total number of armies that a player may have on the board is limited to those that the kingdom's settlements can support. Support for armies is only checked once per round during the construction phase. If the player has more armies than can be supported by the settlements, the player must purchase provisions for 1 gold for each unsupported army. If the player cannot purchase the provisions or chooses not to, then excess armies on the board of the player's choice are removed. The entire armies go away if you're unable to economically support them. See Table 6 for the number of armies a settlement can support, and Figure 19 for an example of army support. Note the capital territories may also support 1 additional army in the territory than its settlement would otherwise allow. See capital territories. Importantly, purchasing provisions for unsupported armies is entirely independent of resupplying armies that have taken damage. Purchasing provisions only ensures that the unsupported army is maintained as it is. It does not allow the player to remove any damage counters. In order to remove them, the army would still have to be resupplied. So villages will support 1 army in the territory. The town will support 1 army anywhere on the board. 1 of your armies anywhere on the board. A city will support 2 armies anywhere on the board. So in this case, we've got a town here in the capital territory and a village over here. In this example, the Blue Kingdom finds itself with 1 unsupported army. Army 3 is supported because it's in a territory that contains a village right there. Army 1 is supported because the capital territory can always support 1 army in the territory. See capital territories. The town in the capital territory can support 1 army anywhere on the board, which means it can either support Army 2 or Army 4. The blue player will either have to pay 5 gold to purchase provisions for 1 of the armies or remove either Army 2 or 4. The Maladorian Marauders. So this is the non-player characters, the non-player force in the game. The orange game pieces represent the Malador, a non-player horde that is controlled by a card-based mechanic. Players have the opportunity to take control of the Malador during their event die phase if they roll the axe, but only in the manner described on the drawn card. The player may use the Malador to their own advantage or to the detriment of other players. At the beginning of the game, there are no Malador settlements or armies on the board. Certain Malador cards and territory exploration results trigger their placement during the game. The Malador have a number of characteristics that make them different from the player's kingdoms. The Malador, 1, never receive resources or gold. 2, do not need to keep their armies supported. This means the number of Maladorian settlements on the board is never a constraint on the number of armies the Malador have. 3, never receive event cards. However, a player who is controlling the Malador may use any event card in his or her hand to aid the Malador should the player desire. Malador have no capital territory. They do not take a regular turn, but are instead controlled by players if the event die causes a player to draw a card from the Marauder deck. They also never receive achievement points and therefore cannot win the game. They may capture or raise a settlement in a territory they conquered, but this decision is made by a die roll. If the Marauders conquer a territory with a settlement, the player controlling the Marauders rolls 1 blue battle die. If the flail is rolled, the settlement is raised and removed from the board along with any fortification. Otherwise, the Malador claim the settlement. In either case, an orange Marauder territory marker is placed in the territory. 8, they are controlled by the player to the left of the current player if the player's action triggers a response from the Malador, such as when a player attacks a Marauder army or settlement. They never build towns or cities. Maladorian villages are not eligible for future upgrades. They're not going to ever have towns or villages, towns or cities. Shaw Hunter says, I would make a house rule that if players cannot support their army, that part of the army becomes an NPC warband, aka they can attack anyone and the warband gets bigger from players not upkeeping their armies. You could just turn it, you could simulate that by, do basically that kind of thing by just all of a sudden turning it into a Marauder army. Just turning it from its color to orange, I guess, then that being the player is that could be bad, because then another player, you'd have a marauding army that's really close to your main domain. But you could just swap it over to the Malador, and then, yeah, then another player could take control of it and have it attack you. Let's see. They never build castles. Any territory the Maladorian Marauders control that contains a fortress is not eligible for future upgrade. They always start with unready armies. Anytime a Marauder is first placed on the board for any reason, is placed in an unready state. And that basically allows everybody... Yeah, Charles Hunter says that would add new depth. It would. Once you've raised an army, you'd better keep it supplied. The reason that armies always appear unready is that way players have an opportunity to respond to that. Especially if you have a Malador that all of a sudden dropped right next to you. At least they are unready at the beginning. That's going to give you one whole round to respond to that new situation, rather than it being potentially possible to all of a sudden have Marauders in a territory next to you didn't know about, and then also have them attacking you on the same turn. That won't happen. That's why all of the armies, when they first appear on the board, are unready. That way you have a round to respond to that situation. Malador do not explore territories. Therefore, Malador armies will never be allowed to move into an unexplored territory, although in certain circumstances they may be placed in them. If a Marauder army is placed in an otherwise empty territory, a Marauder territory marker should accompany it. This means that if the Marauder armies move, or the army is no longer there for some reason, the territory remains under Marauder control and need not be explored on a future turn. Instead, the territory can simply be conquered. The Marauder cards are written so that there will ordinarily always be able to be played when drawn, but in the rare circumstance that a Marauder card cannot be played, simply discard it and continue to the player's movement phase. Please do hit the like button. The Last Phoenix says they should make a Netflix show in this setting and call it the Maladorian. Yes. So, culture. Every settlement and army on the board is culturally affiliated with a particular kingdom or the Malador. The settlement's culture is indicated by the color of the settlement miniature. An army's culture is indicated by the color of the shield on its army token. An army's culture is indicated by the color of the shield on the army token. Once a settlement is established or an army raised, its culture never changes. If a territory containing a settlement is conquered, only the territory marker is changed, not the settlement miniature. Culture has 5 effects on the game. 1. A settlement that is undefended by an army will not call up its militia if the settlement's culture matches that of the attacking armies. Instead, whoop. I guess I had a hot link in there. Instead, the attacking player automatically liberates it and replaces the territory marker with one of its own color. Culture is used to determine when a player's kingdom becomes an empire and receives the associated achievement points. The player must have a city in his or her capital territory and control at least 2 settlements that are not of the player's culture. These settlements combined must represent 3 settlement levels. So that's one reason why you would want to conquer other people's settlements. Because if you can conquer 3 levels worth of somebody else's settlements, then you become an empire and you get additional victory points. A settlement that is of a culture different from the kingdom that controls the territory has the potential to rebel if the territory does not contain an army. This can occur when the relevant card is drawn from the Marauder deck. Players may only raise armies and territories with towns or cities of their culture. Players may only upgrade settlements of their culture. Plus, having control of a settlement of another player's culture is a fantastic way to flaunt the conquest. So how do you fight? So this is battle resolution right here. Empire for the win, Vision says. Battle resolution. Defending a kingdom and forging an empire will require the player's armies to engage in battle. All offers of battle the player made during the movement phase are resolved in the battle resolution phase, though battles may also occur during the event die phase if the player is able to attack with the Malador because of a card drawn from the Malador deck. Because each army is moved independently, multiple armies from several adjacent territories may partake in a single offer of battle. The player whose turn it is, and therefore the player who moved the armies into the territory, is referred to as the attacker and will roll the red battle dice. The player whose territory the attacker has entered is known as the defender and will roll the blue battle dice. There are different odds on both dice, so that's important. When the attacking player designates an offer of battle to resolve, the defending player in the territory selects one of 2 possible responses for each army in the territory. The defender may withdraw or may wage battle. The withdrawal response is only available if the defending player controls at least one adjacent territory and if the defending army is ready. This keeps you from being able to make both a withdrawal move and a regular move in the same round, right? So you can choose to withdraw an army, but then as long as that army was already ready, and then it becomes unready after you withdraw it. So it means you can't withdraw and then move it later, or if you already moved it, it can't then withdraw. If the player elects for an army to withdraw, then he or she moves the army into an adjacent territory under his or her control. All armies that withdraw become unready. An army that the defender chooses to wage battle with will fight to retain control of the territory. The player to the current player's left makes the decision to withdraw or wage battle for the Malador if necessary. If the Marauders withdraw, that player may also choose to which territory they withdraw if there is more than one option. If the defender has only a settlement in the territory that is not of the attacker's culture, its militia will be mustered and will automatically choose to wage battle, like we talked about with militia. If all of the defender's armies withdraw from the territory, this resolves the offer of battle. All the attacking armies become unready, and the attacking player conquers the territory. If one or more of the defender's armies or settlement's militia wage battle, then the attackers and defenders will fight at least one round of battle. 3 types of dice are used in battle. They are as follows. The standard battle dice. These 8-sided battle dice are the basic dice that are used to resolve battles. The attacker rolls the red dice and the defender rolls the blue dice. Bonus battle dice. The 6-sided purple bonus dice are rolled in either the attacker or rolled by either the attacker or the defender when one side outnumbers the other, or in other circumstances where the player is entitled to a bonus battle die. Fortification die. A gray fortification die is used when the defender has a fortification in the territory being attacked. The defender rolls a number of fortification dice equal to the level of fortification in the territory as shown in Table 7. These fortification dice are rolled in addition to other battle dice to which the other player may be entitled. So here are some examples of the attacker and defender dice. Attackers score hits on the Warhammer and they defend themselves on the shield. The defenders score hits on flails and then defend themselves on the shield. Here is the faces that are on the battle dice, the bonus battle dice. Flails, Warhammers, and shields. But of course, the attacker is always looking for Warhammers to hit. The defender is always looking for flails. That way we've got different math depending on the different symbols. And then the fortification dice are either blank, either have a blank side, or they have the shield. So here are the fortification dice by level. Walls grant you 1, 2 are granted by the fortress, and 3 are granted by the castle. So sequence of the battle round. In a round of battle, both the attacking and defending players attempt to inflict damage on the armies of the other side and defending their own armies from damage in the following sequence. Determining numerical superiority. First, the number of attacking armies and defending armies are counted. If one side has more armies than the other, then the player has numerical superiority and will receive 1 bonus battle die for each army by which the other player is outnumbered. The number of any hits any army may have already taken is ignored when determining numerical superiority. Numerical superiority is recalculated at the start of every battle round, so it's possible for numerical superiority to be gained or lost from one round of battle as armies are removed because of hits taken in previous rounds. 2. The attacker rolls an attack. The attacker attacks the defender by rolling 4 of the red battle dice, plus any bonus battle dice the attacker may receive as a result of numerical superiority. For each Warhammer symbol rolled, the attacker scores 1 hit against the defending army. All rolls of anything other than a Warhammer are ignored. The number of hits the attacker takes is tallied. Then the defender rolls a defense. The defender now has an opportunity to negate hits the attacker may have rolled. The defender rolls 2 blue battle dice, plus any bonus battle die for numerical superiority, plus any fortification dice based on the level of fortification of the territory. One of the attacker's hits is negated for every shield the defender rolls. Rolls of anything other than a shield are ignored. Then damage is distributed to the defender's armies. If the attacker rolled any hits that were not negated by the defender, the defending armies are assigned that number of hits by placing a damage counter for each hit under an army. No army may ever be assigned more than 3 damage counters. Damage counters are distributed in favor of the attacker if there are multiple armies in the territory. This means hits are distributed so that whole defending armies are eliminated before others take damage. However, even if an army receives its third damage counter, no armies are removed from the board at this time. You still get a chance to counterattack. They may still participate in the counterattack. If there are no armies present in the territory and the attacker is fighting the settlement's militia, then damage counters are placed next to the settlement. Any hits over and above those necessary to eliminate the defending militia are ignored. Then the defender counterattacks. The defender then rolls a counterattack against the attacker. If the defender is counterattacking with one or more armies, then he or she rolls 4 blue battle dice, plus any bonus battle dice to which the player may be entitled due to numerical superiority. If the defender is counterattacking with only a settlement's militia, then they roll 3 blue battle dice. Each flail symbol rolled is a hit against the attacking army. Rolls of anything other than a flail are ignored. The number of hits the defenders scored is tallied. Then the attacker attempts to negate hits from the counterattack. The attacker rolls 2 red battle dice, plus any bonus dice. Each shield rolled negates a hit, with everything other than a shield being ignored. Then you distribute damage to the attacker's armies in the same way that you would have distributed to the defender's armies, and then you remove any army that has sustained 3 damage worth counters worth from the board. What are the ratios on the D8s? I wish I could remember. I was looking for my box, my game box, one of my game boxes, and it's one of the things that I was looking for that I couldn't find. The edge is in favor of the attacker. On your turn, it's set up this way so that you have the advantage when you are the attacker. So there are more opportunities for you to inflict damage if you are the attacker. That means that when it's your turn, you should take the initiative. You should do something. We wanted to encourage people on their turn to actually attack. So that's why we've got these. And I forget the exact ratio, but it's edged out. That's one of the reasons also why we were using D8s, because we needed to set this up so that the ratio was in the favor of the attacker. Thank you, Mike, reminding everybody, please do hit the like button if you are here. I would really appreciate it. And then also, hey, let me go over here and I'll drop the Discord link. Ravenkeep Discord. We're going to keep going for a few more minutes so that we can go ahead and finish what we're doing here. But the ratio is in favor of the attacker. So if all of the attacker's armies have been removed, then the defender has won and the offer of battle in the territory ends. If the defender's army have been removed from the board, or a settlement's militia has received at least the number of damage counters equal to its damage characteristic, and there are remaining attacking armies, then the attacker has won, and he or she conquers the territory. See, conquering a territory. All of the attacking armies become unready, and this ends the offer of battle in that territory. If all of the armies of both the attacker and defender are removed, or if the defender's militia has sustained all of its hits, then the defender player retains control of the territory. If the defender has only militia in the territory, any damage counters assigned to the settlement are removed. This ends the offer of battle in that territory. If both the attacker and defender still have at least one army in the territory, or if the militia did not take all of its hits, the attacker has the option of withdrawing or continuing the battle. If the attacker chooses to withdraw, then the player must move all of his remaining armies back to the territories from which they came, remembering to keep any damage counters with them. The attacker's armies become unready. This concludes the offer of battle in that territory. If the attacker chooses to continue the battle, then the battle is offered to the defender again. As before, the defender may either withdraw, if that option is available, or choose to wage battle again. If the defender chooses to wage battle, then another battle round is fought, and the cycle repeats itself until either the attacker or defender chooses to withdraw, or the armies on one or both sides are eliminated. Oh, I bet that website isn't up anymore. We did have that website when we were doing that. Here's me. There's me fighting. We had a picture of Seth, but I'm here in my helmet. You can see I've showed my helmet before, but you know that's me. Because I had lamellar armor, and this is my helmet. So there I am in my helmet fighting. So both Seth and me had pictures in the game, but I wanted to have armor on. Territorial control. Territory markers indicate which kingdom controls a particular territory. Controlling a territory without the settlement entitles a player to receive one of its primary resource if its color is rolled during the construction phase. Territorial control determines where a player can build his or her settlements. Controlling a territory also prevents other players from placing marauders in the territory when a player conquers another kingdom's territory. He or she should replace the territory marker with one of their own. See conquering a territory. Players can also earn additional achievement points for having the most number of territories under his or her control. See winning the game. If a player has no armies or settlements, which is rare, it can happen. We didn't want player elimination to be a huge part of this game, but it technically can happen. If a player has no armies or settlements, then he or she is eliminated. However, players may find it increasingly difficult to operate if opposing armies dismantle their kingdom before elimination. If a player announces forfeiture, then the player's kingdom is just played as if it were all Malador. So if you've got somebody who's got to leave, that's how you handle that. Conquering a territory. When a territory is conquered, the territory marker is placed in one of the conquering player's territory. The territory marker is replaced with one of the conquering player's territory markers to indicate change of control. If the territory contains a settlement, then the conquering player has two choices: capture the settlement or to raise it. If the player chooses to capture the settlement in the territory conquered, it will now generate resources, provide gold, support armies, and allow for the resupply of armies as if the player had built it. Now, you can't raise armies there, and you can't upgrade that settlement, but it does do all of those other things for you. Captured settlements may now immediately begin supporting the new player's armies. In fact, it might be critical that a player capture a settlement during the battle resolution phase in order to support armies on a campaign. Do not replace the settlement miniature with one of the player's color. The settlement remains the culture of whatever kingdom initially constructed it. If a player chooses to raise a settlement, then it is removed from the board along with whatever fortifications it might have, and the player collects the resources specified in Table 8 and adds it to his stockpile, in addition to resources that are granted for the removal of the fortification. When the Malador capture a territory, a die is rolled to determine whether or not they raise it. So here we go. No additional resources are granted for the removal of a fortification. So village, town, city, here's what you get if you raise one of those from your foes. Capital territories. Capital territories have two effects on gameplay. First, in order to generate gold, a settlement under a player's control must be connected to the player's capital territory through an unbroken chain of territories that are all connected by roads and are under the player's control. A settlement in the capital territory always generates gold. If a player loses his or her capital territory, he or she will be unable to generate gold until the capital territory is recaptured. Second, capital territories can support one additional army in that territory than it would otherwise be able to support due to the level of the settlement. For instance, at the beginning of a standard game, the towns located in each capital territory can support one army anywhere on the board, plus one additional army may be supported in the capital territory. So winning the game, and here are some special things that you can also get in order to win the game. So players win the game by being the first one to accumulate 13 achievement points. Players earn achievement points throughout the game when they reach certain economic and military objectives. So control of settlements. This is most common. Players earn achievement points based on the number and level of settlements they control. Players earn the same number of achievement points regardless of whether the player built the settlement, upgraded it, or conquered it from another player or the Malador. The culture of the settlement is not considered when calculating the achievement points for settlements. So that's one reason you might not want to raise them, is because you may want to hold on to it for the achievement points. Players receive 1 achievement point for each village, 2 for each town, and 3 for each city and territories they control. Establishing an empire. Players receive 2 achievement points for establishing an empire. This is in addition to the achievement points for the settlements themselves. A player has established an empire when the following conditions are met. The settlement in the player's capital territory is a city. That player has control of territories that contain at least 2 settlements that are not of his or her kingdom's culture, and the settlements mentioned above must jointly represent at least 3 settlement levels. So if you had a town and a village, you would qualify. More than one player may have an empire at a time, and they will all receive the 2 additional achievement points. However, if on a future turn, a player's kingdom ceases to fulfill all the criteria for the empire, the player loses its empire achievement and the 2 achievement points. The player can reestablish an empire on future turns, however. A player with an empire should take one of the empire achievement cards and display it prominently next to his or her stockpile to indicate the achievement. Heavily fortified. Any player who has control over territories that contain at least 5 levels of fortifications, any combination of walls, fortresses, or castles, receives the heavily fortified achievement and its associated 2 achievement points. If on a future round the kingdom's fortifications are reduced, well, then you lose it, but then you can get it back later. All players who meet the criteria to be heavily fortified can have this simultaneously. Master Merchant. The first player to generate at least 24 gold in trade revenue, in tax revenue, trade revenue at the end of the round receives the Master Merchant achievement and 1 achievement point. That player should take the Master Merchant achievement card and display it prominently by his or her stockpile to indicate the achievement. Only 1 player in the game may possess this achievement at a time, and if you fall below that, then you lose it. And likewise, now it's going to be, once you get to 24, it's whatever player is generating the most gold is the Master Merchant. And then the Warlord of Arrowith is for the most territory. The player who is the first to control 7 territories earns this achievement, and it's 1 achievement point. The player should take the Warlord of Arrowith achievement card and display it next to the stockpile. Only 1 player may possess this achievement at a time. If on a future turn the number of territories the player controls falls below 7, you lose it. But also, if on other turns players surpass you, then they take the Warlord of Arrowith. Checking for victory at the end of every round, tally your achievement points and see if anyone has won the game. And basically, if you get to 13, then you are the winner at the end of a round. So you only check this at the end of a round. If the players have exactly the same number of achievement points, the players compare the number of cities. So once somebody hits 13, the game is over. If two or more players hit 13 at the same time, then the player with the most cities wins. If both players have the same number of cities, you go to towns and then villages, and then finally territories without settlements under the control. Then you go to castles, fortresses, and walls in order to break the tie. And here are some of the painted up 10mm miniatures that I made for, or 10mm armies that I painted up. I didn't sculpt these, but those are available on War of Kings as well. So if you need 10mm miniatures, I'm very proud of our 10mm miniature line. And then there are some frequently asked questions. But that's basically War of Kings. It's been a while since I looked at that rule book. I'm proud of the rules. All right. We need to do some productivity stuff. How is everybody? Here, I'll put the link to War of Kings in ravenkeep.net again right here. Link to War of Kings. If you want one, there are 9 more left, and we will send it out. Let's see. Let's go over here and let's take a look at how we are going to handle the rest of our day and how things have been going and how they are about to go. I'm going to, if you haven't joined us before for this part, one of the things that I like to do, and traditionally we'd been doing at the end of the morning grind, was try to plan out the rest of our day. So there isn't going to be a live stream tonight, but we can use the Ravenkeep Discord server and the productivity section of the Discord server in order to hold ourselves accountable. I'll be posting there. I've seen other people have been posting there. And hey, if you were working on your creative stuff last night, you can use the Creative Corner, the Crafters Corner Discord server channel to post things that you've been working on, and post also, we've got miniatures if you're painting miniatures. I'm going to post some of these pictures of these treasure chests to the miniature channel in Discord soon. Zero the Blade is still coming up with new things to add to my tabletop RPG document. So if you need some way to help to decide how can I be more productive the rest of the day, I recommend this index card method. So I'm going to bring up the index card method, and then I'm going to take a look at what I need to do in order to make the rest of this day productive. Although I actually have an online RPG to play today, and Brianna and I also have to watch Nosferatu for tomorrow. So those things are going to take a lot of time, are part of the day. So you have to account for that when you're trying to figure out what you can do during the day, because sometimes you got to make sure that you're planning out the amount of time that something is actually going to take. You can't just make a whole list of things that you're going to do if it doesn't have time assigned to it. If I got to do something, I like to assign time to it. All right, let's do it.
I manage my department, and I've been doing that for several years now.
Your department's just you, right?
Yes, Jim, but I am not easy to manage.
If you would like to join in on being more productive with me and everyone else here on the stream, but are in need of a system to help you out, here's an easy system that you can adopt and that I recommend. Grab a sheet of paper. I find that an index card folded in half is the perfect size for this. But if you don't have an index card, no problem. Any scratch piece of paper will work just fine. Just grab it and a pen or pencil. Think for a moment and come up with the 3 things that if you were to accomplish them today, you would know and feel that it was a great day. I bet you can take a breath right now and think for just a moment, and you will know what those 3 things are. We're going to call these 3 items our big rocks. Our objective is to move these big rocks during the day. Now, don't make the rocks too big, because then you can't move them. Rocks that are too big to move in about a third of a day, we call those huge rocks. Moving the huge rocks is our major multi-day goals in life. But in order to move them, we have to break up the huge rocks into big rocks that we can actually pick up and move around. But we don't want these rocks to be too small, because although small rocks are easy to move, we don't feel sufficient accomplishment when we move them. Moving the big rocks makes us feel accomplished because they advance us toward our objectives in significant ways. You decide what size tasks are small, big, and huge rocks for you. If you get all 3 of these tasks done, then go ahead and add a 4th or a 5th big rock. But don't do that unless you've finished your big 3. You want to look at your list at the end of the day and feel success and accomplishment. You can use your phone for this if you want to, but I think a sheet of paper is better because then you don't have to pick up your phone to check your list of big rocks and potentially get sucked into all the distraction on your phone. The phone will also let you put 20 or 30 things on the list, no problem. Half an index card will keep this tight and focused. I know there are dozens of things on my to-do list on my computer, and that's too much. This method allows me to extract what I really need to do during the day and focus on that. If you're already using a productivity method that you like, no problem, use that. Do what works for you. Now let's write down our big rocks and try to get them done between now and the wind down live stream in the evening. That's where we check in, see how we did, celebrate success, and see how we can improve tomorrow. If you need encouragement during the day, look to the Ravenkeep Discord server. It's a great and constructive community. Let's take over the Geekverse. All right, what am I playing today? Zero Theory asks. I am playing the Index Card RPG. People have been talking about how great the Index Card RPG is, and I had someone who offered to run the Index Card RPG with me online, and so I created characters, a primary character and a backup character, and so I'm going to play the Index Card RPG tonight for the first time, so I am excited about that. Micah says, seems like fun. Wish I had people around here to play with, as my parents can barely handle and usually lose Ticket to Ride Europe and can't handle Risk at all. Dad usually wins Scrabble, though. I wish we had some better way to have people in the Ravenkeep community play games together. I haven't been able to come up with a great way to do that yet. If somebody else does, please feel free to implement. There is a call for game section. We can play. People can play on Tabletop Simulator. I'm not sure how that works, but I mean, I'm sure people can get together on Tabletop Simulator. Eventually, I'm going to be live streaming some solo games, but who knows? We will see. Mike Hansford says, getting ready for another round of Hero Quest on Wednesday with the kids. That is great. Our Hero Quest game did not go terribly well Sunday. The kids were just having too much. We're not cooperating together and actually playing as a team. They didn't the last game either, but they were just phenomenally lucky with the rolls, and so they ended up winning. But this time it was a much harder deal. The dice didn't cover for their lack of cooperative behavior. So we're going to have a discussion with the boys, my brother and I, about, okay, if we're going to do this, you guys have got to figure out how to actually operate as a team and get this done. George says, still cranking out maps for Dungeon 23 and posting some to my Patreon. Micah says, got one song mixed, second nearly done, needs second export due to a glitch on the first. One dev update for the FARID system, 4th alpha, and way overslept due to heat exhaustion earlier in the week. Well, that does sound very productive. Oh, I was thinking we need a members only stream. We need a members only stream. We did one last month, but I want to do more than just one members only stream a month. I'm thinking about once I'm trying to get the kitchen cleaned, kitchen and living room area cleaned. I got a bar between my kitchen and my living room. I'm thinking about setting up another station so that we can take a look at modern day adventuring equipment, because someone has offered to take me boar hunting, and I was getting together modern day adventuring equipment anyway, so we can take a look at modern day adventuring equipment. I got to get a medical pack together and things like that, and I'm thinking about doing some of that stuff for some of the members only streams in there. So hopefully this week we'll be able to do a members only stream. I've got several things going on today. We've got Brianna and and I've got dinner. I've got to go out and have dinner with somebody on Tuesday. I don't have to, but I get to have dinner with somebody on Tuesday night, and then I come back, and then Brianna and I will be live. So I don't know if I will have a chance to get that organized by Wednesday or not, but maybe we will see. Micah says, need to do another dev update and at least an hour of sleep before bed today. Hopefully a little toward the huge rock of statistics checking for the FARAD system, numbers checking and tweaking. The Index Card RPG, Tomocrat says, is a great system. For sure. I know people around here loved it, it seems like, and they all were recommending it to me. I should check out the Grim Workshop of Survival Gear cards. I like cards. That sounds like something I need. I was wondering. I need to get an hour of sleep before bed. I was wondering about that. Okay, so an hour of writing before bed. Okay, so let's just take a look at this real quick, and then we will start being productive. So today, okay, did you heed the call to adventure? I can go ahead and check that off. Oh, I weighed in. See, I weighed in today. I did not want to do that because I was sure that was terrible. I weighed in at 180.8 pounds. Man, that's terrible, because I got down to 175 and I was like, oh, I got it. And then I gained weight again. So I'm trying to get down to 170 pounds. So I'm going to adhere to a carnivore diet and be alcohol free until I get down to 170 pounds. CTA is heeding the call to adventure. So I was up. I woke up at 4:45 this morning and was writing at 5 o'clock this morning. So I heeded the call to adventure. I got 2 hours worth of script writing done. Where is my, because I got to decide what my big rocks are. So that was a big rock right there. Getting script writing done. I have still trying to get I want to be able to produce videos faster, the story videos for the worlds. So spending another hour working on the short stuff is a big rock I have got to move. Now, we have been, the blue boxes means live on YouTube. So I've done an hour live on YouTube here. Allocating at least 2 hours for the Index Card RPG, but it may take longer than that. I'm not sure how long we're playing. We may play 3. I got to talk to Brianna. I'm not even sure how long Nosferatu is. That may be an hour and a half or 2 hours right there. I have got to clean this house, and in order to WR is watch rings. Make sure you're hitting your watch rings. So I got my watch rings going on. I got to make sure I hit my watch rings, and DAR is daily active recreation. So at least 25 minutes. I used to walk for 3 hours a day, but haven't been able to do that because it's taking too much time. But I need to be outside for at least 25 minutes in order to be able to hit my watch rings. So how much time is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh. That's going to be a hard day to hit. Because I tried it, that's 11 hours worth of the day that's accounting for. That's what I'm talking about when you're like, wait a minute, what have I got to do versus how much time is there in the day? Yeah, that can be very difficult. So, if I did all that, that would be my day. So a lot of time will be in playing today and also watching that for the live stream tomorrow with Brianna. So that's kind of how my day is shaping up. And I've got more that I have to do down here. What's my third big rock? Well, in a certain sense, if I make sure that I do watch Nosferatu, and then, of course, actually playing that game is kind of a big rock today. That's not exactly work, though. I'll tell you what, if I can get the cleaning done, if I spend an hour and a half cleaning, that will be an important thing. So I'm going to call those the Nosferatu. Okay, so if I can get the script writing done, 2 hours, which I did, if I can get my cleaning done, and also I can work for another at least an hour on those shorts. I really like for those to be objective focused, but I don't know how long it's going to take in order to figure out how to structure my video projects in order to actually get them done. I'm flying blind here, just trying to get stuff done. Yeah, well, everybody's got different. So some people may need to lose weight. Some people may need to gain weight as well. You know, that happens too. It's just if you're trying to maintain weight, well, that's one thing we got to look at too. Keith says, I've heard Advanced First Aid Afloat is a good book. It might be something that can inspire some more equipment for your adventure kit. It's written from the perspective of someone out at sea. Oh, well, that does sound good. Advanced Aid Afloat. First Aid, yeah. First published in 1972, this indispensable handbook addresses virtually every accident or ailment that might occur when professional medical help is unavailable at sea. Oh, that does look good. Thank you. I've made note of that. Yeah, well, see, I'm thinking that it's not going to be that long at all. Zero Theory says, I don't think old movies were all that long at all. I might be surprised, though. I'm not expecting, but we still may want to talk and chat and stuff like that. So I think it's probably going to need at least an hour and a half. Yeah, eating healthy is hard. Even the stuff that you think is healthy is loaded with sugar. That's why I was just trying to go carnivore. So I've got to go to the grocery store as well and pick up some more meat. But I got eggs this morning to go and eat right now. Micah says, if I lived alone, it would certainly be a bit easier since I have to be handling my own food budget more instead of trying to not let things spoil when there's a lot made at once. I do like peanuts, but you know, then you got honey roasted peanuts, and that's not quite as good. All right. Well, actually, what I've actually done is we've gone for about an hour and a half here. So actually, an additional hour was spent over here extra half an hour was spent over here on YouTube. All of my little boxes, right? Or actually 30 minutes or 25 minutes if I am working on a task. 25 minutes, then a 5-minute break. And if you do a 5-minute break and you stand up and you clean something, you can hit your stand goal on your watch, even if you are basically sitting at your computer working all day, which is basically what I do. George says, I carry a cat tournament tourniquet everywhere. One in my truck, one on my bike. Indispensable item for yourself. I completely agree. I had tourniquets and then I lost my whole. I had just put together, just finished a really nice trauma kit. And then I lost it while, I guess, hiking. All of a sudden, it was not there anymore. So I'm having to rebuild my trauma kit. So I think that's one of the things I was thinking for the members-only chat, members-only stream this week is I had a list of everything that was in it, but it included the tourniquets and stuff like that. Now, I do have some other tourniquets, but I got to completely rebuild that pouch. So that may be one thing that I do while on the members-only stream. Micah says, honey roasted peanuts only add a little more sugar compared to the rest since they measure by volume, and peanuts weigh way more than the honey they add to them. Yeah, they do. Yeah, an ouchie. Yeah, see, I've got one of those too, but I really wanted to be sure the trauma kit was ready first. All right. Well, all right. So that was good. So everybody be productive. Go to the Raven Keep Discord server. We got the productivity section. We got the call to adventure section. So if you need extra inspiration, go there during the day to check in. I hope that you are productive, and I hope that you are also creative today. So everybody, grind on.